President Bola Tinubu has felicitated with Nigerian Muslims as they join other faithfuls around the world to celebrate this year's Eid al-Kabir. Tinubu, in a statement titled, "We must multiply our good deeds," and personally signed, described Eid al-Kabir as a festival of sacrifice and total obedience to Allah as exemplified in the exceptional action of Prophet Ibrahim, urging Muslim faithfuls to multiply good deeds with kindness to their fellow Muslims and others by helping and supporting the weak and vulnerable. He noted that he was aware of the security and economic challenges being faced by the country. The president, however, assured the people that the problems of the nation were not insurmountable and that he was working day and night with his team, fleshing out solutions to reform the economy and remove all impediments to growth. This, nonetheless, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered Assistant Inspectors General of Police, AIGs, and Commissioners of Police in the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, to ensure adequate deployment of personnel to ensure a hitch-free Eid al-Kabir celebration. Barka de Salah, Rufai?
Yeah, Barka de Salah. I think very spot-on message there. It's a time of peace, it's a time of tranquility, it's a time of coming together. And the essence of Salah is about caring for people. You know, we can go through the long history and antecedents of the holiday, but what it's about is looking out for somebody out there that is in the point of need. And the question we always ask our leaders in Nigeria is that, do they care enough for the poor? You cannot say you care enough for the poor and not think of their suffering. You cannot say you care enough for the poor and not think of their pain. And that's why we keep calling on the government that before you remove subsidy, you could have put in palliatives first. And this conversation, World Bank has alluded to it. Nobody says subsidy removal is not good, but put in palliatives. And World Bank say people will be plunged into poverty. Salah is going to be hard for some people. Yes, there will be some people that will have a lot to eat and drink. But there will be some people that will not be able to celebrate effectively this year because they don't have the money, because they're already plunged into poverty. There's a particular prayer we pray in Yoruba, then we say, Obe Oniseleo. That means you will have, something to be able to celebrate and all of that. But there are some people that they are obeti sele lodui. What it means is that they will not be able to kill Salah because of the pain and the poverty in the land. So the president has said security, he's made all the promises and economic reforms again. It must be in consonance with the welfare of the people. How we can help the people. How we can help the people stabilize. How we can help the people lead better lives. Governance is not to put people in pain. It is to make their lives better. And as this celebration comes, we should all think of that. Salah is not also a time for sycophancy. Because I see a lot of sycophancy around. Too much. That's why I was happy about a particular state governor that returned 100 rams somebody gave him. I said, why are you giving me all of this ram when there are poor people out there? This is not the time to be able to give out gifts to the political leaders that you want to get favor from. Give it to the poor people suffering on the streets. There are too many poor amongst us that will not be able to celebrate. So let us make this celebration a fruitful one for everybody so that people at least can heave a sigh of relief of this daunting economic circumstance. Too much people are getting into poverty. You saw the World Bank numbers. Yeah. And we can only pray that God will give President Tinubu the chance and the ability to be able to do it. Because if Nigeria is good under him, it's good for all of us. And we want him to succeed. But where he doesn't also do well, we support him with our criticism. It's support. Barka de Salah once again. Like they say, Obe Oniseleo. We hope for the very best this season and we pray for peace and tranquility.
Well, we wish all the Muslim faithful the best of Eid al-Adha as we celebrate the festival of sacrifice today. And as I pointed out yesterday, it's a festival for all of us because we grew up not knowing any major difference between one festival or the other. whenever it was Muslim festival, all of us are excited to be part of it. And that is still somewhere in the subconscious, that today is a day for all of us. But to return to the statement by the president, I think the president's statement after his return from London yesterday could be divided into a number of parts. The first part, he addresses the Muslim faithful directly, reminding everyone that about the essence of the festival of sacrifice, as exemplified by the example of Prophet Ibrahim, who, out of devotion to God, offered to sacrifice his own son. And the president pointed out that, look, this is about sacrifice, and that there are certain virtues, certain values that are attached to it. And I guess that point he made is important, because beyond this festivity, some of us are planning immediately after this program to start going from one place to the other to go and celebrate with our Muslim friends. But the issue that the president pointed out is that the essence of the festival of sacrifice, it's not about merriment. It's about devotion to Allah. It's about sacrifice. It's about love. It's about perseverance. It's about following those virtues represented by Prophet Ibrahim. And in that regard, he enjoined all Nigerians to make sacrifice and to use this as an occasion to remember the less privileged. So if you are in a position to slaughter 3-4 rams, remember the less privileged. So he talked about sacrifice there. Second thing, he reminded us that he is committed to economic growth and development of Nigeria, and that he is working day and night to make sure that he moves Nigeria forward. And in that regard, there's a subtle reference to the two major policies that he has introduced in the area of economic reform, and that this is for the good of all Nigerians, and that he is committed. Well, we expect him to be committed. We do not expect anything otherwise. And then third, he reminded us that our challenges are not insurmountable. So there's, at the third level, a strong message of hope. And he reminded Nigerians that, look, yes, we can see that there are challenges, but these challenges will be addressed, and that he believes that we should all look forward to a better and brighter future and, have confidence in renewed hope. He referred to that phrase again in the last paragraph of that presentation. It is customary for the president, to issue a statement like this on an occasion like this. And he's not the only leader who has issued statements. The various state governors have issued statements. Political leaders have also issued statements. President Buhari has also issued a statement, although he had a different take. He was saying that leadership in Nigeria is one of the most difficult things that anybody can embark upon. He's probably speaking out of experience. But he urged us to provide support to the Tinubu-led administration. As for the Inspector General of Police, who says he has deployed men and women all over to ensure security today, well, that's his job. So there's nothing to celebrate about that. The job of the police is to ensure the safety of lives and property at all times. And we expect, the only caveat to now add is that people should not overindulge on the occasion of this festival. Everything that we all do today must be with moderation. Remembering, of course, that as the president pointed out, there are challenges ahead, but those challenges will hold him down to his word that those challenges are not insurmountable. Happy, Eid al-Kabir to everyone once again.
Well, we must multiply our good deeds, the president's first Salah message under his tenure. Now, the significance of festivals like this is that it gives an opportunity, as we've seen from different leaders, from the president to different governors of different faiths, speak to their people and leverage it as an opportunity to remind ourselves of the import of celebrations like this and hopefully promote inclusion and get people to reflect on the faith that they profess. One of the things that has been highlighted across the different messages from different leaders and personalities is the word sacrifice. And it's applicable because this is the festival of sacrifice. As Dr. Abati highlighted, we talk about Prophet Ibrahim willing to sacrifice his son, Prophet Ismail. Now, taking a direct quote from the president's speech, I'd like to just emphasize on some of the things he's mentioned because as we celebrate, it's also an opportunity to reflect, particularly because it is a religious festival. Now, he said that we should imbibe the devotion of Prophet Ibrahim to Allah. Tolerance, patience, perseverance, selflessness, love, and compassion. These are messages that this is a message, or these are themes that we ought to emphasize, particularly at a time like this, where there's polarization, in terms of amongst the people here in Nigeria. So one of the things he talked about was tolerance, and it must bring me again to the issue that happened with the butcher in Sokoto State, Usman Buddha, who was killed for alleged blasphemy. When we look at blasphemy and when we look at tolerance, particularly with the Muslim faith, we must also understand that it is important during these celebrations to emphasize the importance of living together whilst being able to tolerate the views of others whilst also obeying the laws of the land. Today gives an opportunity as we celebrate to think about what brings us together as a people. The fact that we are able to consider others who are not as fortunate as we are. It helps us to reflect on our humanity. And this is what the president has done in his speech, capitalizing on such an important festival in the Muslim faith to highlight these issues. He also didn't shy away from the fact that he, still as president, speaking to security situation in Nigeria, the economic situation in Nigeria, and assuring the people that things will get better. I believe that's a message that we need to hear at this time. As you mentioned, Rufai, that at this point, we're a day where people are celebrating. Of course, traditionally, there's a price hike in terms of food during celebrations like this. But it is even worse following the removal of fuel subsidy and the inflationary pressures. How are people celebrating today? We are hoping that the best gift the president, who is a Muslim himself, would give to the poor and the most vulnerable in Nigeria is some relief. The palliatives that have been promised, let there be a concrete plan and an announcement to this effect. The poor need some sort of breather. They need some sort of cushion so that they themselves can celebrate. Today we'll see a lot of videos of people going to pray, people celebrating, killing rams as they ought to on a day like this. But it also is a day where it would highlight even further the plight of the poor in Nigeria. So, Mr. President, a great first Salah speech, but very importantly, beyond the words of sacrifice, let us start with sacrifices from leadership. Let us see sacrifices amongst the leadership in Nigeria, particularly those of the same faith.